What is good? It is Slim Trader, and we are here with a Tradingview tutorial. There's so much about this Tradingview that you can learn, and I don't have a lot of time to explain everything. So I'm just going to go over maybe the main things and the basics, the things that I use on a daily basis, and try to get you acquainted with that. And if you want on your free time, you're more than welcome to play around and figure things out. Or I can make another video in the future that's a little bit more in depth. But I made a new account. This new account, it's a free account. I strongly recommend everyone who wants to use TradingView to at least sign up for a free account. That way you can have access to a few more things rather than just getting on the site, not signing in and trying to utilize TradingView. With that being said, with a free account, you're liable to get pop-ups. So I do want to say during this tutorial, we may be getting pop-ups because this is a free account. I wanted to show how it looks when you first start up TradingView. So let's get to it. When you first open it, you'll have an asset here. In this case, we have Apple. If we look to the right, there's a watch list. And here in the watch list, it already has predetermined assets here. And it goes from Forex to futures to crypto and stocks. And you can always change what you have on your watch list. We can press this plus button, and when we press that, we can type in whatever we want to look at. We can look at NVIDIA, for example, and the first one that comes up is probably mainly the main one you want to use. This one's off of NASDAQ, so I'm going to add that to the watch list. Or you can just click on it. It's Oh, never mind. But just click on it on the watch list and it will come up. But let's go back to default Apple. Um, to close this watch list, here's this little box. You just click on it and it'll close to give you a bigger screen. That way you can kind of work on what you want to work on. I love TradingView because it's great for technical analysis. It's great for finding news. It's great to figuring out when news may arrive. And even just looking at the screen, we'll go over where you can find those just on the screen itself. But let's start up here. These toolbars right now, there's this W. Basically, it is on a weekly time frame. If you click it, there's several different time frames that you can choose to look at. Let's go to the daily. On the daily, it just shows each candlestick that happened that was made per day. Okay. Um, the cool thing about this is also they have favorites as well. So if I want to favorite the weekly, the daily, the 4 hour, and let's say the 15-minute time frame, I can have quick access to those time frames without having to hit the drop down box. And the same thing with candles. You have the Japanese candlesticks. I already kind of messed with it a little bit. Heikinashi, if you wanted to get to there, line charts, those are already in place because I made them favorites. But there's other types of candles as well. But these are the main three that I use. And next we have indicators. If you want to add indicators to your chart, you easily can with this, and you'll just search whether it's MACD, stochastic, Bollinger Bands, moving averages. You'll find all those type of indicators here. And you can also favorite those as well. So if we want to look for RSI, we can do that. I had it saved already, but if you click on it, it comes down here and you can utilize that with your chart. You can also minimize it a little bit if you feel like it's taking up too much room, or maximize it if you feel like it needs to be bigger. But to close this, you can either hit this X button, or you can go over to the indicator itself. You can hit this to hide it, or you can just hit this to remove it. There are also settings in here. If you like, on my account, my RSI, if I use it, it's set up a lot different, but you can do so much editing with it in customization. You can change the colors of the lines, you can change your threshold of oversold and overbought and things of that nature. Definitely something, if you're using an indicator, you might want to go in there and play around with it and tweak it to your style if you know what you're doing. Also, with that indicator, I had saved it so it is available for me in my favorites with this drop down. And depending on the account that you have, if you have a paid account, you're able to add more indicators as opposed to a free account. I think a free account, you're only allowed to add have like three indicators at a time. Here's a template. Let's say you have three indicators like that you like to use. Let's say moving average, a MACD, and RSI. You can save those three indicators, and whenever you load up your Tradingview, you can come here and it'll already be preset for you. So you can just click on it and it'll automatically place those on there, the settings that you had for each one. And it's very, very convenient. So you don't have to do it every time. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these, but this was a template that was already established. It was a default template. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those. If you like to use indicators, it's definitely a great tool to utilize and have a favorite for. Next is alerts. If you are waiting for price to get to a certain price point, um, setting an alert, it definitely is very helpful. It'll send you a notification to your phone, email, however you want to set it up with your account. But I don't use this button here. I use the one here when I'm on the chart. There's this little plus button. And let's say I want it around 160. I can just hit that and just hit add alert. Now, if I want to edit it, it's got a long line here. If I don't want that, if I don't want it cluttering, I can just right click it and click alert lines, and that line will go, but you can see this arrow right here. It shows me once price comes down to here, it still will notify me. And I have it at 160.09. I can easily go to edit and I can make it right at 160 if I want. So I can do I can I can make the conditions of how I'm going to get notified. Right now is it doesn't matter how, but as long as it crosses that 160 mark, I will get notified. I can get notified only once if it only hits it once, and that's it. Or every time price hits that, I'll get alerted, um, but not more than one time per minute. And then I can set an expiration date if I want. I can set an alert name, and that's what shows appears on my phone when I get it. And if I want to leave a message with it, because let's say it takes a while to get there, but let's say I want to buy at 160, then this will remind me to do so, and I can do that. Okay, so now we kind of got the top taken care of. There is other things at the top, but at this particular tutorial, we won't go over those. What I would like to go over is if you're into technical analysis, drawing trend lines, drawing support and resistance, um, this is what you're going to be looking at. It's a toolbar, and it's helpful for you to use to draw those type of lines and things. So if we click here, we can this little sidebar. We have different types of lines. I'm going to favorite the ones that I like to use. I like to use a trend line. I'm going to favorite that. I like to use a horizontal line. I'm going to favorite that. Horizontal ray. I like to use that. I like to use vertical lines sometimes. I'm going to add that. Parallel channel, I like to use that. Um, for the lines, that's all. Now, the next one is like fibs and GAN boxes and things of that nature. I just like to use the fib retracement tool, so I'm going to favorite that. Here, I don't necessarily use anything, any type of pattern drawings or Elliott waves or anything like that. Um, Long positions and short positions, when I'm buying and selling, I want to know what I'm risking and what my reward is. This is very helpful. I have that on my favorite toolbar. Price range, I have that. Um, this one's the brush tool. I don't know if I have these anymore, but I used to. Rectangle, definitely. That is, I use a lot. Text, if you want to draw stuff on there or write stuff, price labels, I used to have that on there as well. And this is pretty much the gist of what I use. There's others, but I don't use them as much. But I'm gonna go over these real quick. Your trend lines, um, like let's say if we can draw our trend from here, we have another point, and all we do is just click and we drag, and we can easily see how we can start our technical analysis. And with this, the cool thing is you can change the color from blue to any type of color you want. Let's say red, we'll change it to red. You can change the thickness of the line. Um, you can change if you want it to be dotted, dashed, or anything like that. And you can go into settings and you can kind of play around with that as well. You can extend it all the way to the right, all the way to the left to make it infinite. Um, I wouldn't mess with price labels on a trend line. It just makes everything more cluttered. But the color, um, you can make it less transparent or more transparent. The thickness and things of that nature, you can find that in here as well. You can add text on the lines and things of that nature. Very helpful. And let's say you want different colors. Let's say you want a red one. You can save it as a template and make a name for it. Let's say red. So, and let's say now you want to have a blue one and you want to save it as a blue. Say blue. So every time that you go to a trend line, you can click this button and you can, if you want a quick color or whatever one you save, you can easily access it and it will draw it for you. Okay. Same thing with the horizontal line. Let's say you want to draw like support lines, or things of that nature. You can with the horizontal tool. And the same thing, you can have different thickness of it, color, whatever color you want. You can save that template. Um, in the settings, you can make a text. Like let's say this is like 123.70, and you can put it on the left side or the right side of the page, but it will show up wherever you want to put it. Okay. Um, you can delete it, lock it in place to where once you're moving around, you can't move it out of that position like I could with this trend line, because the trend line, I didn't lock it. So if you want to lock it, you can. Okay. Um, that's pretty much the gist for everything. Horizontal arrays, the same thing. This just doesn't take up the whole page, makes things less clutter. Vertical lines, same thing. You can change a lot with the color and the thickness as well. Fibonacci. Now, this one's going to look weird, but if you're into Fibonacci, you'll understand what that is. But there's a lot of things you can change with that to make it not look so messy. Um, but like I said, if you're into Fibonacci and understand it, if you want to use it, you can go into the settings and change some things on there as well. Um, but your toolbar, you can save whatever you want, and you can drag this, and this is quick access to use whatever you want to use. Okay. This the beauty of it. And then if it's taking up space or you don't want it on the screen at all times, you can easily click this little star here at the bottom left to exit out on it. Okay. Um, as you see, I'm moving price around with my mouse, the little roller. But if I wanted to get back to a default view or reset the chart, I can scroll my mouse over to here and hit this little round arrow, and it'll get me back to the default look of the screen. Now, as far as the screen itself, the chart is black. If I want to change it back to white, I could click over here to my login information. It's on dark mode. I can easily hit this. It'll bring it to light mode. Dark mode's a little bit easier on the eyes, but I do like to trade on light mode. I don't know why, but I do. But you'll go back to dark mode. Now let's go back to the watch list, which with the watch list, there's a lot of helpful information on here, like Apple. It tells you a lot about Apple, where it's at, market close, the percentage of it being up or down for the day. Um, Market cap, things of that nature. If it pays dividends, how much, when was it last paid, a lot of financial information, how it's been performing the past week, month, year, um, uh, what people feel like based off of technicals. This meter says sell, um, and analyst ratings, how they feel, how they forecast it in the future. A lot of things that you can find, and even you can find news about it. Even right here, this little purple. There's a little. Sometimes there's things on the screen to let you know when important news is coming, or just news itself based on that asset that you're looking at. So Apple, there's news on Apple. You can click on an article, you can read it. Even on Minds, these are what people think about with Apple. So it's a lot of tools you can find for technicals, you can find for fundamentals, you can find for sentiment as well, what people think. And here's your alert log. We did make an alert that's active, and we can find all of our alerts that we place on all of our assets here. We can delete it here as well. This is more of also this pane right here is just more data for the asset that you're looking at. This is the hot list that shows like who's been making the most gains and who's been losing the most on a percentage on a percentage based. Here's most volume that's been traded amongst these assets. Which ones are the top ones? So this is also good to look at if you want to see who the big movers are and what's been going on. Calendars is where it lets you know where the major news has happened. If we're having FOMC, PPI, um, unemployment rates, any of these things will drop, and that's for all nations, not just United States. Awesome. Um, any of your ideas you want to publish, you can use that. Um, Chat groups, there's people always on here talking about different types of currencies or stocks and things of that nature. You can also share your ideas as well. And speaking of ideas, people do share their ideas on what they think on certain assets as well. So you can click on that and see. But that's pretty much the gist of it. If you're into technical analysis, if you're into fundamentals, if you're into wanting to see what other people feel about the pair or stock that you're looking at, TradingView is the one-stop shop. I highly recommend you use it. Um, and if you're doing technicals yourself, I highly recommend you get your toolbar in place, put your favorites on there, change the color, change the thickness, set it up the way that you like. So once you get in there and you're graphing and you're charting, you're able to easily put what you want on there and how you want it. And it doesn't have to be no one, it doesn't only you have to understand it, no one else. So don't try to make it where you feel like other people have to understand, just you. But that's all I have for you guys, and I hope you enjoy the video.